People are literally buying a whole new console just to play Pokemon Pokopia. Do you see how insane that is? If you're a cozy gamer, you probably feel like you have to play this game. Trust me, I can relate, okay? The visuals, the gameplay, the hype, everyone has been talking about this game non-stop for the past couple weeks. Look, I don't even own a Switch 2, and I still caught myself checking the price and genuinely considering getting it, even though I'm in no financial capacity to do so. This game is $70. $70. The console is like another $500. I know I'm not the only one feeling this way, so today I want to talk about this and I hope we can normalize not buying the game and not feeling missing out from it. Before we get into this video, I do have to say that if you're financially comfortable to buy Switch 2 and the game and you're happy with your decision, then no biggie. This is not to attack you or anything like that. It's about bringing back some sanity to myself and to people that are not financially comfortable to get it, but the FOMO is too real that we feel pressure to buy it, and to hopefully snap ourselves back into reality and realize it's fine to not give into the trend all the time, no matter how tempting that is. Why does everyone immediately fall head over heels for this game? The visuals, the cute cozy gameplay aside, it has the Pokemon aspect, and most of us love Pokemon. I mean, what not to love? Pokemons are adorable and most of us grown up watching or playing Pokemon at one point. It's not just the game, it's the memory, the nostalgia, the feeling of belonging to that Pokemon lover community. Just the Pokemon aspect itself is already super appealing. And now we add that addictive yet peaceful atmosphere of a cozy life sim. We have our own Pokemon paradise where we get to build, cultivate, and live alongside those cute little creatures. Sound like it's too good to be true, right? And guess what? It kinda is. Because why does it have to be locked behind a new console? Why can't it just be played with Switch 1 instead? I'm not a Switch player, so please, if I say something wrong, you're welcome to comment on this. There's Switch Lite, Switch 1 was supposed to work perfectly fine, but now Nintendo pushes for Switch 2 so much that they're not even making new games for Switch 1 anymore. It's basically obsolete even though it hasn't been that long since its release. The hype around Pokemon Pokopia is obviously planned so that we all feel compelled to buy Switch 2. It has a very broad demographic. Target buyers are either Switch 1 owners who are on the fence about buying Switch 2 and needing a little nudge, or just completely new potential customers who never owned a Switch before but love Pokemon, cozy games, so we just buy it. $520 just to play one game. You know, I can buy a whole new phone or a whole new laptop with that money. Seriously. I can't see for the life of me why Pokemon Pokopia is a Switch 2 exclusive. At worst, a Switch 1 port would leave it at 30 FPS, which is fine because it's a live sim game like Animal Crossing New Horizon, which is also 30 FPS. The graphics are nowhere near high fidelity enough to look like an impossible port, with even the new trailer today showing game share being compatible with Switch 1. Even if it's most likely stream connectivity like DK Bonanza, Switch 1 also has the larger install base, and they could have likely avoided it as a game keycard for that system. Well, they're doing it exclusively to sell more Switch 2. What do we expect, you know? But Ali, if it's so expensive and not worth it, why are so many people buying it? It must be so worth it after all, right? Right? Let's talk about that aspect. Introducing the FOMO. No matter where you live, who you are, how much money you make, you can never escape the FOMO. That's just part of being a human. And big corporations know this. They tap into that fear because urgency sells. This person said, just picked up Pokopia. I'm really not a Pokemon guy, but I picked up a Switch 2 just to play some chill, cozy games and decided to buy Pokopia for the FOMO and the fact that it looks like a better and funner Animal Crossing. See, this is what I'm talking about. Even there are people that are not even into Pokemon are now buying Switch 2 and the game itself just because of the FOMO. FOMO is a highly effective business strategy because it exploits fundamental human psychology, converting passive browsing into immediate action through anxiety-driven desire. It works by leveraging the fear of losing an opportunity, the need to belong, and a tendency to follow social trends. There are 3 marketing tactics that trigger FOMO I have seen from Pokopia, and a lot of other recent trends are real-time user activity, articles or videos that say, I just bought this game, Pokopia is amazing, you need to get this game now, the best cozy game of 2026, etc, etc. They create a cascade of urgency by proving that others are buying and enjoying it right now. And then here comes the influencer or social media hype. Seeing influencers showcase a product creates a desire to fit in and adopt the latest trend before it disappears. Another aspect is limited time sales or limited stocks. Not that Nintendo is doing that because, like, let's be serious, they never go on sales. But I have seen numerous speculations of why Switch 2 might increase its price because of AI and inflated price of RAM cards. That might also urge many people to get Switch 2 right now instead of waiting it out a little bit. So why do we feel FOMO? Because it ties back to our identity. Because we want to feel like we're part of a community, you know? And if you're a cozy gamer or a Pokemon gamer, this feels like your game. Not playing it feels like you're being left out of your own community. You're being left out of all the fun discussions around the game, especially when 80% of the discussion is about that new exciting game. And when you see everyone loving something, your brain just assumes it must be worth it. It becomes sort of a domino effect. Influencers or streamers buy the game because it's trending. There will be more discoverability, more views if they mention the game. And because of that, the game reaches even higher discoverability. The FOMO begins, the social pressure starts. These influencers buy it without thinking as much because they can afford it. They can very likely write it off as business expense, but sometimes we normal people forget about that. And we just follow the trend because it's extremely tempting. It is much harder to not follow the trend than to just cave. And then next thing you know, this FOMO kind of wasted you $500 at least. This person said, kind of regret purchasing Pokopia. After watching tons of videos, reviews, gameplay, and Reddit posts saying I would not regret buying the game, I'm honestly having second thoughts. For context, this is my first time owning a Switch and the first game I've ever bought. I paid about 113 Canadian dollars, which is a lot, and when inspecting the game experience everyone here seems to love. I've played Animal Crossing before, it was fun, but pretty limited. Most of it is decorating and collecting. For some reason, I thought this would feel different. But maybe I was wrong. I'm 35, work full-time, and live with my girlfriend, and I don't have a ton of time for games. Yesterday, I had a rare window where I could play for about 6 hours straight, so I give it a real shot. The beginning is definitely charming and exciting, but after the first hour or two, it started to feel like very basic gameplay loop with a different theme layered on top. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what it feels like. Number 1, create a habitat and wait for Pokemon to show up. Number 2, make them comfortable with furniture, food, toys, and decorations. Number 3, do simple quests for items. Number 4, clean up each area and repair things like Pokemon Center. 5, once everything is fixed, decorate and expand. 6, move to the next area and repeat. Is that basically it? I get why people enjoy this. Animal Crossing is huge for a reason, but I keep asking myself, what else is there? So everything that he just described, I think it sounds like it's a cool, cozy game, but for $70, I don't think it's worth the money. Plus a Switch 2, no, I don't think it's worth it. You can use your money to buy more cozy games on Steam that you don't have to pay $70 plus $500 plus dollars for. I also see that a lot of people's radicalization for spending $500 plus for Pokopia is that this is just the start. I'm gonna buy more games on Switch 2. They're not buying it just for Pokopia, etc, etc. Look at this comment. Pasto Dev said, I think it's less that their Switch 2 will be purely Pokopia machines and more that Pokopia is the first game that made it worth it to get it now for all the games that will come later. 100%, they're not going to throw the Switch 2 away when they're done with playing Pokopia. LOL. Really? Are we really going to buy more $70 game on Switch 2 because we're becoming that rich now? Goblin Cat said, when I tell people I bought the Switch 2 for Pokopia, I mean that Pokopia is what pushed me to buy it at this moment. But I know I would have bought it eventually for upcoming games as more and more games come out as Switch 2 exclusive. But I agree the console is very expensive, same as all electronics right now, and I'm not happy about spending this much. I'm hoping it pays off with upcoming games. Sweetie, how is it gonna pay off with upcoming games when you very likely will have to pay more money with upcoming games? The math isn't mathing. What's bothering me isn't even just this one game, is that this is becoming a pattern. Games are getting more expensive. You guys all know how I feel about games that are more than $20, $25 and not that well optimized or designed. And then consoles getting more expensive. Switch 1 was $300 on an average. Switch 2 is now $450. And what's next? Switch 3 coming in soon for $1,000? Entry barrier getting higher and higher, and we're just supposed to be okay with it and normalize it? Like, when did gaming become this expensive? We shouldn't need to drop hundreds of dollars just to be part of the moment, you know? But now, somehow we're just slowly getting used to it, and this is kind of dangerous. I also hate this whole new argument that if people are willing to buy it, then it's not overpriced. Like, sure, there are people that are okay with paying that much for games, which is good for them, I guess, but there are also many others that just put themselves on payment plan, aka credit debt, just to be part of the trend. I think we need to stop normalizing making the price bar higher and higher because our salary isn't catching up. Going debt for a house, a new laptop for work, a new phone because your old phone broke, I understand. But going in debt for games? No, please. Please don't normalize this. This is an extension of what I said earlier about people justifying paying so much money for this game. And to be honest with you, I was telling myself the same things too. Trying to justify buying it even though I have no money. I was literally like, okay, but I'll play it a lot.
No!
Okay, but it's Pokemon?
No!
Okay, but I could make content out of it.
No!
And that's when I realized, wait. Why am I trying so hard to convince myself? The FOMO, the social pressure, the normalization of going in debt for everything these days is genuinely not okay. I've seen numerous posts of people desperately asking others to talk them out of buying Switch 2. This is when reality genuinely hit me. Many people are also like me, like you, who are in no financial capacity to pay so much money for a game. Banana Pudding said, please talk me out of getting a Switch 2 for one game. We all know which game it is. I want you to go full swing at me to convince me to not get it, no matter how ridiculous the argument is. The top comment said, FOMO isn't worth going broke over. Seriously. Not OP, but I needed to hear this. The FOMO is so real now. The game will be there a year from now. FOMO is a marketing tactic. What did I tell you earlier? As an older gamer, I will say this. You can play this game in 5 years for cheap and it will still be good. And there are people saying that with Nintendo, they doubt that pricing will go down. If anything, it might even go up. Well, you know what? Fuck that then. Just play other games. When the hype dies down, you probably don't feel like you're gonna miss it that much. There are tons of other games you can play that won't break your wallet and your sanity. As a streamer, I will have to be honest with you, every time a new game comes out, I always feel like I have to play it and I have to do it as soon as possible before the hype dies down. The feeling of playing trending games will give me more discoverability, more content opportunities, etc. Makes the pressure 10 times worse. I'm too small of a streamer to have that much excess money to spend on the game, but I do want you to acknowledge that most people on social media that do gaming content, it is their livelihood. This is their business expense. They're buying it for the hype because giving into the hype is a sort of investment that will eventually bring back some money into their pocket. Hyping up a game is their job, and the more people pay for the game or talk about the game, the more content opportunities for them. Again, more content means more money. You and me and most of us normal people, that is a lot of money, and it's fine to not buy it. Just because it's hyped doesn't mean that it's that much better compared to other games you already own, or maybe cheaper games that you can play instead. I think it's also important to acknowledge that Nintendo made great games in the past, games that literally shaped our childhood. But whatever they've become now, it's time to realize that they're way too far off. I'm not gonna sit here and argue whether their games are great or not, but their pricing is absolutely out of this world. Most new AAA Nintendo Switch games cost between $60 to $70, with many high-profile titles holding this price for years, while older or indie titles often range from $20 to $40. Specialized or newer releases on the upcoming Switch 2 are expected to reach $70 to $80+ each game. Obviously, they have their own diehard fans and maybe we're on their target buyers, but that's okay. That's why it's absolutely fine to not buy these games and not feel left out. This Pokemon aspect in Pokopia is a big selling point of the game because let's face it, we all love Pokemon. There aren't a lot of Pokemon games out there. I think the nostalgia aspect is the most appealing thing for a lot of us. Perhaps they didn't really get fair criticism because, you know, the rarity of Pokemon games out there. I know it's a little controversial, but I think it's absolutely fine to just play Pal World instead. It has overwhelmingly positive review on Steam and is only $25. I'm glad that the game is still out there for us to play considering how much Nintendo wanted to screw them over with lawsuit and stuff last year. It was a little hard for me to find legit reviews about this game because it's still new and everyone is still in their honeymoon phase with the game, and also Nintendo games, you know? Regardless of their pricing craziness, people still gush over every Nintendo game, but there are some good points here, so let's go over it together to hopefully make you feel a little less FOMO. This person asked Pokopia on his thoughts. Notice that it's back in stock in my city. I've seen so much gushing over the game. Pokemon and Pokopia subreddits keep appearing for me, but I want to hear from another subreddit that's not dedicated to it. What is something you don't like about this game, and is it worth it? Obviously, since this is posted in Switch 2 community, 85% of the comments are still gushing about the game, but there are a few honest ones here. White Flower said, I bought a Switch 2 just for Pokopia. After about 10 hours of play, I realized I didn't enjoy it at all. And I understand that for many it's a fantastic game, but I guess it's just not what I enjoy when it comes to gaming. After deciding not to play, my wife asked if she could try. My wife has never played games before, but she'd heard about it on social media. I cannot get her off my damn Switch. She got in bed at 4 a.m. the last 2 nights. Added, it wasn't just for Pokopia, but Pokopia and the idea of Nintendo exclusives were a major deciding factor. I'm happy to have the system regardless. Of course you are. Of course. Like, how can you not? It's $500. What can you do if you're regretting it? So basically, you may love it, you may not love it. It's not the ultimate game like many people gush about. If you have the fun for it, then go for it. But otherwise, I don't think you're missing out. August Felling said, I'm 50 hours in and I think I'm done. I think it's an amazing game, but you have to like voxel construction and demolition. To me, that's not relaxing. I wish people understood it's not a game for everyone, and that doesn't mean you're not creative or a hater. I would have saved a lot of money if people were more upfront. That is Pokemon Dragon Quest Builders, not Pokemon Crossing. This is the issue with the hype and the FOMO marketing. People buy the game just because they see many others love it. Our brains justify its worthiness because of the hype and not from the game itself. Not to mention because it's so hyped, like all the reviews are basically the same, saying the same things, gushing about the same things of the game, and it's not honest, it's not realistic of how the game actually is. Don't even get me started on the fact that any criticism against the game is frowned upon and downvoted, and maybe because the game is so expensive that we all kind of feel like we need to make excuses for it and that it must be so worth it. Drew Logs the Answer once said, 100% agree. Nothing is gripping me. The story is cute, not deep or well written. The mechanics are fine but not unique. Graphically it's fine. Gameplay is just doing chores and running errands. Nothing overly exciting or unique. If I wanted to play a game like this, Minecraft offers infinitely more creativity and much cheaper. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I absolutely adored the game, but once the story was over, I was kind of done. I was a little disappointed towards the end because I thought the other gates I hadn't yet opened were going to more areas, but no, they all led to Skylands. Look, you may call me stingy, but if I pay $70 for a game, but it's more like $500 for a game for this one, I better play for at least 2,000 hours and not get bored after 50 hours. And the whole system and the art style and optimization and quality of life must be top tier for me, okay? I also saw this feedback saying how the inventory system is so flawed. I know this is common knowledge, but I'm really starting to struggle with the game inventory system. Having to remember what item I place in which storage box is a real pain. Made worse when these boxes are all split up in different biomes. Surely taking advantage of Pokemon lore and implementing a PC storage system like Pokemon Storage in the mainline game in the Pokemon Center would be less stressful. Maybe this system would only be available in a biome once that biome's Pokemon Center is built. Not to be bitter, but again, $70 by the way. $70 and not well optimized or have proper quality of life features, it's a no-go for me. And can we talk about how this is happening in cozy games? Cozy games. Why does this make us feel like we're falling behind if we don't play it right now? I thought cozy games were supposed to be relaxing. At the end of the day, you gotta sit with yourself and be honest. Can you afford this? Even if you could afford this, is there anything else that you absolutely need to save money for? Like maybe a new bed frame, maybe a small picnic with your loved ones, or maybe a new pair of glasses for reading, or just simply save it in your emergency fund. $500 is a whole lot of money, and if you're wondering if it's worth it for one game, that should be enough reason to not buy it. You don't need to keep up with all the trending games, especially when perhaps you already own these games. Maybe it's time to start a new Stardew Valley playthrough with a different set of mods or Minecraft. And if you're really having the itch for Pokemon stuff, how about just try Oopless instead? It also has cute little creatures, farming, building, beautiful visuals. I know I'm going to play it once I'm bored with Mystria. Like, look at how cute they are. This one is very high on my list. Slime Rancher 2 is another good one. I cannot play this because of the first person view, but it also looks super fun. And if you really have an itch for fantasy and quest building games, I have seen many people comparing Pokopia with Dragon Quest Builders 2. You can give it a try for now. And you know the best thing is, all of these games are on Steam, which means they will either have demo or you can return it if you don't like it within 2 hours of gameplay. I bet Nintendo doesn't let you do that, huh? Also, please don't go too crazy with hoarding games. Games will always be there. Pick up one at a time, one you really want to try. Just because we're saving $500 from Pokopia doesn't mean we'll throw it away all on Steam game sale, okay? Last but not least, please remember that missing out on one game is not going to ruin your life, and you don't need to go broke just to feel included. If a cozy game is making you feel pressured like this, maybe it's not that cozy after all. If you made it this far into the video, congratulations! Here's your medal. But also, let me know what you think about the video. How many times were you tempted to buy Pokopia? And like, did you seriously consider getting into credit card debt just to buy this game? And yeah, make sure to like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm talking about. There will be more similar videos coming your way, and let me know what you like me to talk about next in the comments if you want. Until next time, bye bye! See you everyone!